findable on the web, and he's been doing government business on it. He's been involved in signal chats in which he texted the flight plans of American fighter jets and when they're going to take off to strike Yemen. So he's clearly been engaging in government business on his personal cell phone, and that phone was very easy to find. That number was easy to find as late as March 27th, when a German newspaper, Der Spiegel, was able to surface that phone. What we found out in our story now in doing this is we were able to acquire the exact phone number that Pete Hegseth used in the Signal chat. Our researchers found the phone number on the web earlier, and so we knew that this was Pete Hegseth's personal phone. But then what we found out this week is that same phone number belonging to Pete Hegseth was the exact phone number that he used in the Signal chat. So there you have the actual going from point A to point B, where he's actually doing government business on it. And that was sort of mind-blowing.
Right. Hard confirmed that it's that number, the number that you can find online, the number of his personal phone, the personal phone that has a signal, where he's sending these messages, not in sort of the classified channels to people like his wife and his brother. And there's a great quote in here from Mike Casey, former director of national counterintelligence. This is what he says. There's 0% chance that someone hasn't tried to install Pegasus or some other spyware on his phone, Mike Casey said. He is one of the top 5 probably most targeted people in the world for espionage. And just in case people don't know Pegasus, there exists software that can be remotely put into your phone that will essentially dump everything in that phone to an espionage agency, even if you're using an encrypted app, because it's grabbing directly from the phone, right?
Things are looking bleak for Donald Trump, to put it nicely. But to put it accurately, his presidency is falling apart. His approval rating is tanking. He's suffering daily losses in court. And as the economy collapses, everyone isn't calling him back about tariffs. And he's just left humiliated, which is exactly what he was when he lied about his tariffs and was caught in that lie in a very panicked conversation with a couple of reporters on Air Force One that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, Donald Trump was asked a lot of questions about his tariffs before he was caught in the big lie. So before we get to that, we got to check out where it all started.
Free up China, let us go in and work China, because frankly that's what we wanted last time. We almost got it, and then they backed out of that deal. But we had it to go into China and sell our product, sell our wares. In other words, it's cool to open China. That would be great. That would be a big win. But I'm not even sure I'm going to ask for it, because they don't want it open. They don't want it open. On the immigration front, the big thing are the tariffs. But because of tariffs, I can possibly get that. What do you think? Opening up China would be a big win, right? The problem is, no matter how big the win is, the press will not give you credit for it. If I got the greatest win in history, they'll pay us trillions and trillions of dollars. They'll give us anything we want. The press will say, Trump, he just had a terrible defeat. He suffered a terrible defeat. But the people know. No, I think we're going to have a lot of big wins. I don't know if it's going to be covered that way by the fake news, but the wins are going to be very substantial. We're losing. We were losing. With Biden, 5 billion a day. Think of that, 5 billion a day. I've got that number way down, and soon it's going to be very, very positive. We'll be making 5 billion a day, but we have a little ways to go yet.
Does he not just sound like a meandering-minded idiot? I know he always sounds that way, but especially when he is talking about his tariffs, which seems insane because you think that if a person talked about something a lot, they would have some semblance of an understanding. But for Donald Trump, it's all just about repeating the word and pretending that he's tough. He's rambling about China in a way that makes no sense. And you can kind of see where his mind is at. He said he wanted to open up China. Like, does he think he's Nixon just because he started a stupid trade war that's costing us trillions of dollars in the economy every day? I don't know. That is very clear. But he's also a corrupt, which is why he was asked about insider trading within his own team right here.
Can you commit that nobody on your financial team was giving any type of tips to Wall Street executives about deals with India? There was some reporting yesterday that people had heads up on Wall Street, possibly to make money. Can you commit that that did not happen?
I can commit to myself. That's all I can commit. You know, I have thousands of people that work for me, but I can't imagine anybody doing that. I have very honorable people that I can say, so I can't even imagine it. But no, I haven't even heard that actually.
So you're telling me the felon who has surrounded himself with felons and corrupt billionaires is telling us he has not just the best people, but the most honorable people working for his administration? Really? Your mugshot is within the White House, and we're supposed to trust you based on merit and honor? Yeah, I don't think so. Especially when all you have done around your tariffs is lie. Saying they're on, then saying they're off. Saying they're about bringing jobs, but then it's actually about getting concessions. And the biggest lie yet, Donald Trump got caught in right here.
You said that you've spoken to President Xi multiple times. Is that since taking office, sir?
I don't want to discuss that, but I'm speaking to a lot of people from China, but I'm speaking to people from all over the world on the tariffs, and we're making very good deals. Very good. It's going to make our country rich. We're not going to be ripped off like we have been for the last literally 50 years.
Trump's responses to Signalgate 1 and 2 have cracked me up a little bit, although they are not funny. But it's because of what he said, and just the contradictions. When Trump was asked about Signalgate 2 at the White House Easter egg roll, he said that it was old news, right? That this national security nightmare is okay, because it's old news even though it was new news, but now it's just fake news. What? Like, the White House has confirmed all of this is true, and so is Pete Hegseth, but it's fake. Oh man. But it doesn't stop here. Somehow, it's continued to get worse, and Chris Hates reported on that right here.
Boy, it just seems every day, sometimes more than once a day, there's a new jaw-dropping story about Pete Hegseth's incompetence and recklessness at the Department of Defense. So yesterday we learned that Hegseth had an unsecured internet line installed in his Pentagon office so he could continue to use the commercial messaging app Signal, leaving him vulnerable to potential hackers who might be interested in what the head of the DoD is up to. Of course, we also know that Hegseth has used his personal cell phone, which I gotta stress in the government is like a real no-no, to discuss sensitive information about imminent military strikes. Again, using Signal in multiple chains. Today, New York Times reports, quote, Hegseth's personal phone number was easily accessible on the internet and public apps as recently as March, potentially exposing national security secrets to foreign adversaries. Helene Cooper covers national security at the New York Times, where she was one of the reporters who broke this story, and she joins me now. Great reporting, Helene, you and your colleagues. First, I want to start with just the idea of the personal phone for every member of the government, not the least the head of the DoD. You're told, like, do not do anything official, certainly nothing classified in your personal phone, right?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's true. I mean, even low-level government officials. I have a friend who works for NOAA, and she does not do any government business on her personal cell phone. And so you can imagine, we're talking about the Secretary of Defense here, who is probably one of the most targeted people in the world when it comes to what hackers or what foreign adversaries, when I say target, I don't mean target to kill, I mean target to surveil. Who would be one of the people who would be the top 5 or 6 in the United States when you're looking at officials that foreign adversaries would want to get a hold of his communications device. So the issue is not that Pete Hegseth has a personal cell phone. Everybody does these days now. The issue is that that personal cell phone is easily
I am no longer surprised. I do not have the capacity to be surprised by the idiocy of this administration, but always, as we know, I am disappointed and disgusted. But that does mean we just have to work that much harder to call him out, which is exactly what we're doing on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.